Welcome and hello. This is Jennifer McGuire. I hope you're having a great day. Today I have a few cards to show you using an easy pop-up feature using dies. This is super easy to do. It works great with a heart die. I'm also going to show you some fun techniques for the outside of the card too. Lots to share today. I'm going to actually first go through and share the techniques for the front of the card. Then we'll go into the pop-up techniques on the inside of the card. So I have three different cards today. Lots to share, but lots of tips too. So let's start with this card design. I wanted to create a bunch of inlaid heart die cuts. So I'm using this heart die set from Hero Arts. It's a great set because there are so many heart dies included, and the hearts can be used together or separately. Some hearts, when they come in a set, some of the hearts aren't perfectly shaped, but all of these are. Now I wanted to make them all fit into each other perfectly, nice and straight and even. So I have a piece of magnetic paper there that I'm arranging my dies on with the cutting side down. And I'm using the edge of the magnetic paper to make sure I'm lining them all up in the center. This is the magnetic paper is just holding it until I put this tape along the back to tape all the dies together. The magnetic paper is helpful, but you don't need to do that. So now I have them all together. The cutting edge is face down right now, tape on the back, and that tape is going to hold it in place as we use this over and over again for some really cool techniques. Now, if you don't want your tape to be super sticky anymore, you can use anti-static powder tool on that, and you can move this around freely for anything you need. I'm going to go ahead and use these dies all connected to die cut a bunch of hearts from some pink shimmer cardstock. This cardstock is actually from a Hero Arts kit, and I'll show you that kit and talk about it a little bit later. So now I have a bunch of hearts. Look how beautiful these are. And we're going to set those aside, and I'm going to use this same heart dies to die cut a bunch from some pink cardstock to some lighter pink cardstock. So now I have a bunch of hearts. I'm going to go ahead and trace the largest one onto the front of a white note card exactly where I want my hearts to be positioned. And inside those pencil lines, I'm going to put a bunch of adhesive down. There are a few different ways you could do this, but this just seemed to make the most sense to me as I was doing it. You could use any adhesive here, but I really like using some sort of stamp runner or any kind of tape runner. Now, you'll notice I have two sets of hearts. I'm going to alternate as I glue them down. So we'll actually have some hearts left over, so we could make two cards like this with the hearts that we've die cut. So after I've filled in that area with some adhesive, I'm just going to erase my lines and put my heart back into where I wanted it to be. So I'm starting with the biggest heart, and I'm going to work my way down to the smallest heart on the inside. Each time I'm going to alternate what color I use. So remember, we're going to have a bunch of leftover hearts, and we could do a second card if we wanted to. This is a great way to use nesting dies to create this like inlay smooth look with lots of different colors of shapes. It's really beautiful in real life. You could do like a rainbow of color going in if you wanted to, or maybe an ombre effect. Now that I've finished gluing those down, I can trim the little excess off the edge and we're ready to go. For my sentiment, I'm using this Love Stamp and Die combo set from Hero Arts. I die cut 4 Love die cuts from black shimmer cardstock, and I'm layering them all on top of each other so I have some dimension to them. It's nice and thick. Once I have those done, I can glue that to my card. I also white heat embossed a sentiment, the rest of the sentiment, that says "You so much" with Versamark ink on some black shimmer cardstock, white heat embossed it. I really like how this die and stamp combo work together so well, or you could use them separately if you wanted to. So here I'm gluing that dimensional die cut right onto the card. I'm going to put something heavy on that so that it dries flat. And then I can, after a few minutes, go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of that stamped strip that we did. I just trimmed it down a bit. I'm using my T-ruler to make sure it's nice and straight, and I'll add that to the front of the card. Now, I could do some fun things to this if I wanted to, but I want to keep this simple since there'll be something going on in the inside of the card too. So I have this little heart die over there that you see to the right, and it cuts these tiny little hearts. So I cut some tiny hearts, and I'm adding them to my card with some Ranger Multi-Medium, just kind of scattering them on there. Okay, so we finished the front of this card. Let's move on to the second card. I'll show you the inside at the end of this video. So this card uses all the same products, but it has a completely different look. I kept the dies taped together, but this time I'm going to make an impression with the dies. So I'm taking my die cut machine, opening all of the flaps, and putting a cutting plate down. On top of the cutting plate, I'm putting this embossing mat or embossing pad. This will allow me to impress instead of cut. I have a white Hero Arts note card that I've opened up here. I'm going to put it right on top of the pad. Then I will take that set of heart dies that are still taped together, lay it right onto the front of the card, and put a cutting plate on top of that. Now, when I run this through my die cut machine, it'll impress instead of cut. Basically, I'm running this through my machine how I would an embossing folder, but instead I'm using that embossing pad in the die. So there you can see that beautiful impression you get. I'll link to a video where I did this technique for some other card examples. So I've layered together several light pink die cuts here, and I'm going to put a dark pink on top. This is fun because if you look from the side, that little bit of light pink kind of peeks out, gives some fun look to it. Putting some adhesive on the back of it, and I'll pop that right onto the front of the card and put something heavy on there for a few moments while it dries. Then I white heat emboss the rest of the sentiment, as I did before, onto a piece of light pink cardstock, added that right below the die cut. This time I'm adding some Lucy's Cards I Love You sequins. This has small and big iridescent hearts. I thought that was a fun touch to the front, keeping it very simple, but lots of dimension there with that layered die cut and the impression that we made with the hearts. Here's the third card. This one's completely different. I actually used some products from the Hero Arts December My Monthly Hero card kit. This kit is a lot of fun because it has a party theme, but you could use it for any celebration or birthday. There's a stamp set included in it, some papers, some embellishments, and lots of dies. This stamp set here is an add-on that you can get. I encourage you to check out the kit and the add-ons. There are some fantastic products. I'm going to be using this fun die that you see to the left to create like a starburst effect, but I wanted to show you everything else in the kit. There are also a bunch of like shiny and shimmer cardstocks in the kit. That's where I got that pink and black shimmer cardstock that I'm using in today's video. Okay, so I created a note card out of some of that pink shimmer cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and use this starburst kind of die on the front. I'm going to do it twice. First, I'm doing it towards the top of the card. Just going to tape it in place. I used my T-ruler to make sure that it was straight. I'm going to run that through my machine, and then I'm going to repeat it right below, just a mirror image. Now this die is unique because it doesn't cut completely through. It cuts all those rays but keeps them connected in the center. So you have this like starburst effect. You can kind of pop all of those little rays up so you have some dimension. So from the back, I just push through with a craft knife, and that kind of pops them all up. Now, this is a great card to hand to somebody or make on a tag that you tie to a gift so it doesn't get smushed down. But you still can put it through the mail, and they kind of pop up when you open up the card. I'll show you a trick for that in a moment. Now I want some white to show through, so I've cut a piece of white cardstock that I'm going to glue to the inside of the card behind the starburst so that that white peeks through. It really makes a big difference so that you see that white peek through that pink card. It's so beautiful in real life. This would be beautiful on a holiday tag or a Christmas card gift or something because you've got all that dimension. So in the center of this, I used one of those smaller hearts that I showed you earlier. Die cut that from some pink cardstock. I'm stamping the word Celebrate with Versamark ink. The Celebrate is from that stamp set from the kit that you see there. Now I'm going to add some white embossing powder and heat set that. I want to keep this simple so that all the interest is in that starburst effect and the pop-up effect on the inside of the card. Going to put some dimensional tape in the center, add that heart on top. Now, if you want to, you can add some embellishments to this. I kept it simple by adding some more of those tiny little die cut hearts. I added some to the rays and some to the card itself so that some were popped up and some kind of sat far back. Now, if you want to help make those rays stay up a little bit, you can squirt a little bit of some strong liquid adhesive at the base of the rays where they meet up with the paper. And when that dries, it'll kind of keep it popped up a little bit. But really, I just leave it as it is, and it's got a beautiful effect to it. Such a unique die. And again, that is in the Hero Arts kit for this month. Now it's time to do the pop-up effect on the inside of the cards. We've completed all the outsides. Now it's time for the inside. Now the outside cards that I showed you before are all 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We need the insert cards that will have the pop-up feature to be smaller. So I'm cutting these insert note cards to be 4 by 5 inches. So I just created a note card and I trimmed it down to 4 by 5. Now on that creased edge, I'm going to tape a heart die. This is one of the heart dies from before. Any size would work. I'm going to tape it so the points of the heart line up with the creased edge of our note card. Now this is where you get the pop-up effect. You're going to put this onto your bottom cutting plate, and the top cutting plate you're going to put on top of the die so that a little bit of that die, the heart die, hangs outside of it. So it won't cut that tiny little bit of that heart die. This will leave it connected and help us with the pop-up effect. So this is a partial die cutting technique. When you open it up, check it out. You see the heart is cut except for that little area. I'm going to use my scoring tool to kind of score to connect those little cut lines. And watch, you just push it through with your fingers. So I'm just pushing it from behind with my fingers. Press it down, crease that little edge where it's still connected. And when you open it up, that heart pops up. You could do this with a circle, a square. Any symmetrical die really works well for this. Now that I have this done, I'm going to cover the back of it with adhesive. So basically, I'm putting adhesive along all the edges. Just do not put adhesive on the back of the heart area. Now I can take this and line this up with the crease on the inside of the note card that we created before. Close it up and press it firmly. And now we have that pop-up feature on the inside of the card. Really easy to do. I wrote on this one my little greeting on the pop-up feature. You could go to town decorating on the inside. I tried to keep it kind of simple. So there is like kind of a basic pop-up technique. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more to it for the next card example and do this little cutout in the center. Did the same technique before with the partial die cutting. After I did that, I went ahead and die cut a small heart from the center. Just taped the die down, ran it through my die cut machine. Now there's a little window in our little pop-up feature here. I'm going to cover the back of this entirely with adhesive, not entirely, just around the edges, but don't put adhesive on the back of that heart. Now I'm going to take this, line it up with the crease line inside of our note card, close the note card onto it, and now we have a little pop-up heart with a little die cut window in the center also. This is when those nesting dies are really fun. Now I went ahead and added some little sequins to the inside and also wrote a little message with a white gel pen. Again, keeping it simple, but you could go to town decorating the inside if you wanted to. Now for the final one, I added a love die cut in the center to show you that you can do a little more decorating to the inside. So for this one, I'm going to put adhesive on the back of just a single layer love die cut, and I'm going to glue it to the heart. Now the ends that hang off the heart, I'm going to kind of pull them up so that while this dries, those ends don't dry glued down to the inside of the card. It just helps with it popping up nicely. And now when I open it up, I have my little love that pops up. I added some little hearts and then a handwritten message. So there are lots of ways you can do this easy die cut pop-up technique. I hope you'll give it a try. These cards are so much fun to make. If you're interested in the products, I always link them in my YouTube description below. Over on my blog, I have much more information and giveaways and such, so be sure to head there. In the middle are 2 other videos that might be of interest to you using similar products and also showing more of that impression technique. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon and have a wonderful day.